Well, if you've been around our booth at all today, you know that Komatsu has recently teamed up with Williams Racing. And we have done that to spotlight the next generation of innovators, as well as highlight some of our vital work around the world. As you've just seen, data and technology are huge parts in innovation and success in the mining industry. In the high-stakes world of Formula One, data analysis and technology are often vital to determining victory. And today, we have the privilege of talking to one of the most legendary names in F1 history. He's a man who started his career in 2000 with Williams, becoming the youngest British driver at the time to start an F1 race. And then in 2009, he became the World Drivers' Champion, which is a great story all on its own. You'll have to ask him about it if you want to hear about it. So please welcome to the stage, Jenson Button. Where is he? There he is. You're in the dark. I couldn't see you. Great to see you, man. Thanks for joining us.
Be here.
So, Jenson, you started your career back in 2000. You drove full-time in F1 until 2016, had another race in 2017, and then you've just been in all sorts of different motorsports since then. What are some of the ways that you've seen data analysis and technology change over your career?
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone. It's lovely to be here. And what an amazing setup we have here. It's absolutely stunning. I personally love the plush carpet. I mean, I don't even have carpet like this at home. That's how good this booth is. But technology through my career has changed dramatically. I mean, I've raced in Formula One, yeah, as you said, 17 years of my life, and then went away and did other stuff. So I raced in NASCAR. I raced in Baja in a trophy truck. Those things, the technology hasn't really moved on so much. But in Formula One, when I arrived in the sport, it's obviously the most technologically advanced type of motorsport there is. You know, you're in the pits watching the car in the garage, and you've got some guy with his computer, and he's pushing the gas pedal with his finger, not connected to the car. So it was already impressive. But we didn't have simulators like they have now. We didn't have real live info fed back to the team while we're driving. You didn't have all the data to compare yourself really to other drivers. You had a little bit, but it's come so far. So for us, when we started in the sport, I started as a 19-year-old when I first drove an F1 car, or drove 3 F1 cars. You had to sort of think on your feet, and you had to drive and learn from what you did that previous lap, and hopefully think that you've improved the next lap. Look at the data, compare yourself a little bit. Whereas now, you know, you've got a driver like Franco Colapinto, who is the new Williams driver. He's been racing with the team now for 3 races. He can jump in the car and be competitive immediately because he has the simulator. He jumps in the simulator before every race, drives it, does all the setup work, compares himself to his teammate, and then he arrives at the track and he's ready. He's ready to get in and be competitive immediately. But also while he's driving, he'll radio into the team and say, guys, I feel that I'm losing time in turn 7 at Monza. What can I do? How can I improve? And the team will say, well, your teammate's doing this. Why don't you try braking this bit later or a bit earlier, carry more speed through the corner? So it's real time, which is what makes a big difference in Formula One. And we didn't have that. So we had testing, which is great. So we would go testing more often. They have a lot less testing now. But with the technology we have, they're able to be on it immediately when they get in the car and have real-time info.
Right. So can you expand on that a little bit? Like if anyone here has watched F1 or watched Drive to Survive, we see the engineers and the strategists sitting behind that bank of monitors, all this data is coming in. What kind of decisions are being made with the data that's coming in?
So basically with the data for a driver, we're obviously driving the car. We can't see what's happening in terms of the speed traces and stuff, but we normally get out the car, download the car, and then we go over comparisons with our teammate, and we can see the speed trace, we can see the braking pressure, we can see what the diff's doing, brake pressure. There's all sorts of different things. Also the migration of the braking performance front to the rear through braking, because you play around with that. Also what the hybrid system's doing and how you're recharging and all this information. You can do the comparison with your teammate, which is great. But the team on the pit wall, while you're driving around, has this information as you're doing it. So you're braking for turn 1, they see your brake pressure. So if you make a mistake, they know exactly what you've done and what you've done wrong. which is kind of a pain because you try and hide stuff as a racing driver because we make mistakes all the time. But you can't now. It's there for all to see. So they all see the speed trace and they'll go, you're not carrying enough speed through this corner. You need to push a bit harder. And then they'll see you do that the next lap, and you might have carried in too much understeer, which they can also see on the graph, or too much oversteer. I mean, there's so much data. And is there too much? I mean, back to the old school of just driving as hard as you can is awesome, but I think we all need a little bit of help now and again to improve ourselves and to maximize the car. So that's why it works really well.
Yeah. So kind of following up with that, the idea that technology and data has helped, obviously with the engineering and stuff, as a driver, how did you find that was helping you develop yourself as a driver during your career?
Yeah, it helps a lot. And sometimes it's frustrating because you've done a great lap, and your teammate gets to see how great that lap was, and he understands how to replicate that. One person that was very good at that was Lewis Hamilton. We were teammates for 3 years, 2010, 2012. And if you went out the box, went out the pits, and you did a couple of really good laps, he would see what you've done, and he would do exactly as you did. He was amazing at just going, oh, I can brake 10 meters later. I'll do that. Boom. And he was just on it the next lap, and then you were chasing him the whole weekend. So, yeah, it's really helped you in terms of the driving aspect of it, but it also helps us in terms of the nutrition. We have nutritionists now, we have physios, and we do lots of tests on the body in terms of heart rate, what's happening through a race, also how much salt you're losing, how much sweat you are producing. And again, this is all information that we put into a computer, and it tells us what we should be doing in terms of training, also nutritionally what we should be eating and drinking while we're driving.
That's a lot of information.
It's a lot.
Okay, so taking all of that, obviously technology's great, data's great, having a great car is awesome. What do you see as a key aspect of bringing all that together? What does a team do that is able to bring all that together to be successful?
Understanding it, first of all. As drivers, it's putting in enough time with the engineers, so there's a really good understanding there. It's very easy for a driver to come in and be frustrated with an engineer not understanding them, because no engineer in Formula One has ever driven a Formula One car, so they don't know how it feels. So when you're trying to explain to them, you can explain it in a way that every other driver will understand, but the engineer won't. He'll just sit there and go, I don't know what he means. I don't know what he needs from this car. So there's that. There's having a good understanding with your engineer and speaking a language they understand. That rapport is so important in this sport. And the data definitely helps that, because we can both sit down, go through that data, and decide what the car is doing and how we can improve it, to improve lap time, to improve consistency, fuel saving, tire saving, and all of this. So, yeah, I mean, the understanding of the data is important, especially from a driver's point of view. Engineers are very skilled and educated in understanding the engineering and the technical aspects, but the driver's not so much. So there needs to be that rapport there and that understanding between the both and between everyone within the team, so that you use it in the right manner and you can use it confidently.
Yeah, great. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything else you want to say about data or Williams or your career or any of that stuff?
Yeah, well, this team, Williams, is a very special team in the sport. If you watch Formula One now, you go, well, it's Ferrari, it's Red Bull, it's McLaren, it's Mercedes, right? That's it. That's what the world of F1 is. But Williams has been there for decades and won multiple world championships as a team, constructor, as a driver's championship. And what's so exciting about this team is they've given so many drivers the opportunity through the years. I was 19 when Sir Frank Williams, the late Sir Frank Williams, gave me the opportunity to race in Formula One. And it's kind of been my family ever since. Yeah, I only raced there for 1 year and went elsewhere, but that was always the case. I always knew it was 1 year, go somewhere else, and hopefully come back to Williams in the end. That didn't quite happen. It almost happened twice. But I've tried my hardest to come back to this team for many years. And now, obviously not as an F1 driver, but as an ambassador, also as a heritage driver. So I get to drive all of the heritage cars, from Nigel Mansell's winning World Championship 92 car to my first ever car in F1, which I drove this year, 25 years after I raced that car in 2000. I actually got to drive that again, which is an amazing feeling for me, and big thank you to Williams. So this team is, even though it's not a family-run team anymore, it feels like family, and it's such a passionate team. OEMs, the manufacturers, they come and they go, whatever suits them in terms of marketing. But these teams, these private teams, these are what Formula One's all about, and they're passionate. There's so much love, and it's great to see them fighting their way back. And the last 2 years, I've seen really, really good improvements, not just results, but within the team of people they have. And with a regulation change in 2026, this team is going to be fighting a lot further forward, and I cannot wait. Great driver pairing they will have as well with Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz. So a lot of experience, I look forward to it.
Great. You guys say thanks to Jenson Button for us, and thank you for being here. He's going to be here for a little bit in the booth if you want to have questions for him. And remind you guys, we do have Williams simulators over here. If you check those out, the top times get prizes. So be sure to try your skills on those. Thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my